Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah, everything's alright. Everything's on track, so we can have regular sessions. Everything is fine. So, how has
Well,
everything
that's
been
good.
on your end? What you been able to practice? How your game's been so far?
Well, I've been trying to work on not letting stats hold me back from playing because I spend a lot of time I used to spend a lot of time with AI because it's like if I bomb, then there's no record of it, right? So I've been trying to use quick match more because there is a record of it, and that way I can get over like the anxiety of, oh man, somebody's gonna look at my stats and they're gonna see that I suck. It's like nobody looks at my stats. Nobody cares. I'm not a YouTuber, streamer, or anything. Like nobody's gonna look at that. So I'm trying to do more of that so that way I can get over it. And I've decided to I made myself a challenge. So there's this character that I really wanted to get good at since I got the game, and the character's Magik. Because when I got on this game, I started like before I got on the game, I was reading comics like the Krakoa era and like all that kind of stuff. So it ties into this game, you know, pretty well. And before I got on, I didn't think that Magik would be a character because I didn't think she was that popular. But she's like my favorite X-Men, right? So when I saw that she was on the game, I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. I did not think she would make the roster. And, so I tried to play her, but this being a new genre of game and, so many new things all at once, I just did terrible. And eventually I, spread out through the roster, found characters that I wasn't so bad at, and so I focused more on them. But every now and then I'd get this tug like, damn, I really want to get good at Magik. And so this week I decided that I was going to give myself a challenge to play 25 games as Magik, like only Magik, and they were going to be either quick match or competitive, so that way the stats would actually count, and I would be playing against people, so that way I would get that experience and all the beneficial stuff. So that's pretty much. I started it yesterday. I ended up playing 8 games. I did not feel like I was good enough to do competitive because I didn't like every other game. I would lose one, I win one, and lose one and win one, and so I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to fuck up somebody else's comp rating with that. But quick match, like it's just a quick match. It's not really that important. So that's what I've been doing. I did try to do a Doom match too, um, and that went about as horrible as you could expect. But I did do it, and um, I didn't count it for my challenge. Now that I think about it, but I didn't realize how long Doom matches were. Like that shit
Yeah.
took forever. Cause I just at first I would do the practice one like you had told me about, but this time I decided to do a real one so that way the stats would count. But golly, that shit took forever.
That's alright. well, again, the do match is just one of the modes you can do typically to warm up, right? It's just kind of before the game starts. You can do that. Maybe if you think it's taking too long, then maybe you just have limited time. You can also try to just practice versus active moving bots, like we showed in the practice range. I think that can be one of the options. Stuff like that. I have a few questions based on what you said so far. So one big thing, and this has to be addressed right away, right? Just accordingly to long-term goals, being able to climb effectively, all of that. So I think it's really important to fix. It's you mentioned that sometimes there is a problem when you look at the stat, right, and it's affecting just how you perceive your gameplay, basically, right? So, or maybe we're thinking, well, I got bad stats, then I'm so in someone's game, or maybe there's just stuff like what I heard from you is you do bad, yeah, then it means, well, it's just kind of frustrating, maybe as well, but that's understandable. Yeah, I think when we doing that, and it's pretty common thing a lot of players do. My question to you is: there's anything else you could be doing? So far our thought process. Well, we can maybe even just screen share and go through the thought process, right?
Oh
Is
yeah.
mhm. Yeah. So far it's been like looking at stats and then you choosing what just based on what I mentioned. So first off, you choose to play quick play to not show off, show someone's game, like mention, or maybe you also mentioned. By the way, can you see the stream?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me to share my screen.
Oh no. I'm just screen
How do I
sharing.
end it? Okay, stop. Okay. Okay. I can see it now.
Yeah. So far it's been looking at stats, just to play quick play. Maybe there's also some other behavior like we just thinking, well, I'm not doing too great, right? But you do it based on the stat. You look at the stat and thinking it's your main indicator. Are you doing good or bad? Now there's one problem with this, yeah, because you're thinking that you look at the stats and then you perceive that you're doing good or bad. Yeah, let's put it this way. Kind of gonna be our bullet point. Let's just do it this way. Okay, looking at stats and then you actually just rate your play. Yeah, rate play, good or bad. What kind of problem you see with this type of thinking? Is there anything? What do you feel is
Well,
problematic when you do that?
whenever I have more bad games in a row, it definitely discourages me from continuing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, so it's not as motivating. Okay, so it gets really demotivating to you. Okay, maybe is there anything else?
Um, when I when I rate my play as good or bad, outside of it being demotivating, it just kind of well,
I want you to recognize it's not that you recognizing that your play is good or bad, but it's you looking at the stats, because this is how you perceive later, are you playing good or bad. If you have good stats and bad stats, which again, I'm not sure how you can manage it. Yeah, most people are just looking at the deaths and kills ratio, right? Again, not the most accurate stats, but that is how I assume you do it at the moment. So,
yeah.
yeah.
For Magic, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one thing, right? And when you look at that, then you're rating your play. So the problem is you look at the stats and then you rate your play. To me, you see, is there's anything else you could be doing? And because it feels demotivating, yeah, recognizing it, is there's anything else you could be doing to just recognize how you're playing? Are you playing good? Are you playing bad? Yeah, this sort of stuff. Because this is a big problem. When you look at the stats, this is not gonna tell you are you playing good or bad. Like 100% not, because a lot of times the stats, yeah, it's really important. Yeah, just maybe make a note. Stats is not an indicator of how you play. Of how you play, and we're just gonna say good, bad. Yeah, just however you perceive, because a lot of times there can be good deaths and bad deaths, and there can also be good kills and bad kills. Let's say you got 4 people, but all your teammates are dead, but you killing 4 people before, well, every fight, let's put it this way, but you do that once your teammates are dead, and you have 0 deaths, guess what? You still lose the game. Right, in theory, I'm just kind of exaggerating there.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Yeah, this can be one, this type of scenario. Or to exaggerate, we can also just die, but when you die, this is actually good deaths, and you maybe get meaningful traits which allow you to force out a lot of ultimates, and you just get the objective going, right? So see, this type of thinking, where the kills or deaths becomes an indicator of how you play, is not efficient. This is just not gonna tell you anything. So my question to you is, there is anything else you can look at except of the stats to identify are you playing good or bad, or like just identify how you're playing? Yeah. What do you think?
The only other thing that I could think of is if I win or lose, but that's probably not very good either.
Yeah, that's also not positive constant. Yeah, it's the one day you win a lot, another day you lose a lot. You want to find something what is consistent, no matter you win or lose, because there are a lot of things outside of your control to win or lose the match as well. Maybe you get a throw, or well, you will lose the game. Well, maybe you can win as well because you're getting carried, for example, but it's just one of the examples. So we need to find
Right.
something constant to just understand how we are performing, what that can be.
Yeah, I really have no idea what that could be.
Well, think about the player in any other sports. You look at, well, choose your favorite sport. What kind of sport you like?
Um, I like basketball.
Basketball. How do you understand if the player is performing good or bad?
When they're making their shots.
Well, this is kind of, well, this is true, but what makes them to make that shot? How do they do that? What they have to do? What kind of skills they apply to be able to do that?
Well, they have to be, in the right. Well, I guess you could say position. I guess
Position.
the right
Yeah.
location on the court. I
Location.
guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You see, you're already starting with certain skills, and this is how you get better at anything. You just need to identify the skills you're trying to get better at to actually hit the score. In your case, it's gonna be you getting more stats. Yeah, you hitting this high score, or maybe you winning the match as well at the end because of it. But you have to identify this position, or you have to identify your movement. You have to identify how you control the ball on the field, yeah, if it's basketball. So it's the same thing here. We just need to find things to work on and just base your success. Yeah, like look at those things and see how you're performing. Yeah, if I have certain concept in mind, like my position, if I don't take the position I want to, yeah, there are a lot of things within the positioning, right? But if you're not implementing the concept, then it means, oh, you're not performing as well. Yeah, but what you can do it in this is fix, you will be positioning the right way. Yeah, for example, positioning in the corners all the time, or positioning on off angle, or positioning in high ground. Yeah, it's always the variables which you can measure at any point of time, and it's easy to see, are you doing that or not? And this is how you can look at this. Are you actually being successful? Does it make sense?
It does, and like whenever I was taking my notes, yesterday, I noticed that I have a trend or a tendency to like either start the match out the way I want, but later on just kind of lose sight of it, or I start out not doing what I want to do, but towards the end, I figure it out, and cause like, um, I've been watching YouTube guides and things like that, and taking classes and
Mhm.
all of that, and trying to, because I figure like my biggest issue in the game in general, and especially with Magic, is positioning and using cover. Because
Yep.
like the concept of using cover as Hela makes sense because you're not directly in the fight. You're, on high ground or an off angle or,
Yeah, yeah.
in the
Mhm.
back line or, somewhere not directly in the mix. But with a melee character, you don't really get the benefit of removing yourself from the fray. Like you're supposed to be in it. And so I just struggle with grasping how can you use cover while also
Yeah,
being in the fight,
yeah.
if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it makes sense. I think we can talk about that and just use some of the examples of your gameplay, and we'll go with that and exactly identify the concepts too. But this here, it's just kind of going back, this here is really important. And we talked about the previous stuff here, the fact of practice, how you practice, the most important. Yeah, so I just want to ask you the question as well. We talked about the hero pool, so we fully committing towards the Magik now, right? This is what you want to do?
Yes, I want to commit to Magic and finally like get good with this character before I go to anyone else because I've been wanting, like I said, I wanted to be good at this character for so long and I've just put it off because I get demoralized. I'm like, oh, well, I really love her, but I'm not good at her, so I don't want to play her. And, it was really bad before I started, reaching out for help because when I was just playing it on my own, like it was,
That's alright.
yeah, it was really bad. So now that, I know there is a community and I'm a part of a community and I'm getting coaching and getting help, I'm, trying to do the things that I've been wanting to do. It just felt like I wasn't able to do.
That's alright. That's alright. All understandable. We can definitely also spend some time just going over the magic wand if you have one. Just make sure you send me the game. But I just marked the second problem out of all the things you mentioned. It's a pretty big one. I like that you stepping out of just practicing versus AI. Now we just lean towards the quick play more. So this is a big step. Now I want you to try to find the moments where you can start challenging yourself and actually play competitive more. Because this is also really important. If you're trying to get better at something, you need to practice. And to be able to practice, you need to play against similar skill level players. Okay? And to be able to do that, the best environment for you is always competitive. So what are we trying to do is, well, first off, keeping those things in mind about the stats, keeping the things in mind what I'm practicing, and measure your progress based off that. But in the competitive, you get more consistent feedback on, are you actually implementing the things? Are you actually getting value out of those things, or what's not working? Because in quick play, it's really easy. Well, just say it's not as competitive. It's just in a way people have more fun. Okay, so you can get away with bad play a lot of times. And what happens when you do that is you build bad habits. Okay, and we don't
Yeah,
want this to be happening. We don't
that
want
makes
to.
sense.
Yeah, we don't want to be, obviously playing quick play is also okay-ish. Yeah, especially as a starter. Just I want you to try to potentially find the time to start leaning towards the competitive. Of course, I would just say, well, play competitive most of the time, and this way you can just get to the highest rank fastest. Yeah, but I also understand how uncomfortable it can be mentally, and it's just you need to take those things
Yeah,
step by step.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's why I was like, okay, if I can, you know, it sounds kind of sad, but it's like if I could build up the courage to play Magic in 25 quick matches, then, then there would really not be much of an argument for me to not take her to competitive.
yeah, yeah.
Because, I'm hoping, well, in theory, I by the time I reach the 25th game, I will have been, largely over worrying about the things that I currently worry about.
You know, the biggest thing is how to not worry. You need to actually try things, right? And it's kind of like in the real life as well, constant preparation for something. Maybe you know some of the friends like artists, or maybe I don't know, just anyone else at work. They try to just learn all those books, read all the stuff, and prepare for the best moment. Try to do something, yeah, like be really competent. But in reality, how do you get the most competent is by ideally just stepping in and doing things and seeing that you're gonna be okay. Yeah, you need to actually do that. Yeah, you need to actually do those things. Yeah, so because why I'm saying that, because well, definitely you get to the level when you can play competitive, but then later it might be your mind might be telling you that you're not ready enough still for some reason. Yeah, but you have to do that first step somehow, and just actually see that you're gonna be okay when doing that step later. Well, you're gonna lose, yeah, you're gonna maybe try to, well, you're gonna win some matches too, yeah, it's gonna be tough, but the more you try, the more confidence you build usually, and then later on it's gonna be easy for you to see what things you're working on, what things you need to fix. Yeah, and so, and yeah, as I mentioned, not building bad habits anymore, building actually good habits suddenly too. So it's really important. So my question to you is, once you get to play comp, what's your first step is gonna be in that direction? How often you gonna play comp the next time? Once you
Well,
get that opportunity.
okay, so this was my initial plan. So my initial idea was to, do the 25 in quick match, and then after that, excuse me, I would try to go for at least 25 more in competitive. But I wanted to talk with you about that because being able to choose a duelist for 25 comp matches is not as easy as it sounds. Because, you know, if I get in the lobby and everybody, for the most part, in my lobbies, I've noticed that people do go for the 2-2-2, right? So we have
That's
two
right.
vanguards, two duelists, two strategists, for the most part. But you know, I just, I guess it's my perception. I can't really know for a fact, but I just feel like the odds of me being able to pick her 25 games in a row in competitive are probably going to be low. So I
Why
would have
why
to,
why is it low?
because, if I get into a lobby and there are already two duelists, like, I don't want to be that guy who picks a third duelist,
Why not?
because that's typically not a good idea.
Why it's not good idea?
As far as my experience goes, which is limited, but in my experience for competitive, like the 2-2-2 is like, you know, a staple. Like it's a, not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's one of the requirements for victory. Like what is, how does that phrase go? Like there's something, like there's conditions that need to be met in order to,
Yep.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I understand. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
simplify it to, you need, what you're saying is you need to have a certain comp to be able to win, and 2-2 is the way to go. That's how I understand. Usually, yeah, typically, of course, not every time, but
right.
yeah, you don't want to be this guy, like I mentioned, who picks not just maybe also, like I
Yeah, or
mentioned.
if there's already three duelists, I don't want to pick the fourth one because that would be, would not be a good idea.
Yeah, so I want you to think about that. Now, I'll just again exaggerate, always helps with understanding some of the things. Imagine you got top of 100 player, top of 100 one trick magic, who never touched other characters, who never touched other characters, don't know how to play. Well, probably they will be competent enough to be able to play others, but they are so good at magic, top 1 ranked, and then you match, but then you don't have a perfect comp suddenly. You have there you see that you already have two duelists, and this guy is gonna pick Magik. And imagine this Magik is you, for example, right? If you top of 100 player, don't you wanna, especially in the gold or silver game, yeah? Don't you wanna pick Magik? Isn't that gonna outweigh the fact that you don't have perfect comp, but that you're so skilled at that character? What do you think? Like, could top of
I
100 player with not perfect comp with 4 duelists carry that game, potentially? What do you think?
I mean, absolutely. A top 500 player
Right.
could probably carry a team of all duelists. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
Exactly. So, the question is then how to be that top of 100 player, what it's based on. And it's exactly based on the things you mentioned over here. What kind of skills you need to practice to get a top of 100 player. That's it. So imagine if you're top of 100 player right now, right? Of course, there's a journey to get there, but you're practicing certain skills. So if you practice certain skills, then it doesn't matter what comp you play. Ultimately, you just need, let's just put it this way, your performance, especially at your level now, it's gonna outweigh the fact that you don't have a perfect comp. And in reality, even me as a player, I've been top 10 ranked in Overwatch. I'm playing more Rivals now. Well, it says I'm 0.1%, but I don't play as much. But in Overwatch especially, even at the highest tier, sometimes we could have 6 DPS, 5 DPS, non-perfect comp. Somehow we still win, but it's not that it's just luck. It's just performance matters so much more. And because you that could be that top of 100 player in a silver match, then it's exactly saying that performance is what you need to strive for, not being that guy who picks something else to just be having a perfect comp, but be that guy who is actually getting to the point where they're really skilled at their character. Does it make sense to you?
yeah, it does.
Yeah, so we're just gonna simplify it to this. Performance gonna matter so much more, like, let's just say matters so much more compared to having perfect comp. You need to keep that in mind. A lot of people would say something different, but I give you an examples, and this is how it is, right? With analogies, it's all understandable when you just kind of exaggerate, maybe think about just all of this a little bit, and this is true even from players' perspective too. When I've been in your shoes starting just playing the game, well, I realistically just want tweaking the characters too a lot, yeah, and just getting better, getting certain skills out. Yes, you lose some matches, and there's small percentages where the comp is affecting your match, but it's not affecting you that much compared to performance, especially at our level. But at the high level, composition will matter more. Why? Because they already have really good performance. Yeah, they solved all their performance like 99% of the game, but later, because they're trying to sneak in those additional 1-2.5% with having better compositions. Does it make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I hear what you're saying, and it makes sense. But I guess another problem for me is that it seems selfish to do that in comp. Like like if I were to start my 25 game challenge over today, let's just say after this session I started over and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, 25 games in comp, not quick match. If I were a top 500 player, then it would be a no brainer. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can carry this lobby. I have the
Mhm.
skills, I have the knowledge, blah blah blah.
Right.
But I am probably a bottom 500
Yeah.
player.
I mean,
So
it's fine,
for
right?
me to come in,
Yeah.
no, I don't think there's a problem with me. Yeah, I don't think there's a problem in that in and of itself. But if I were to come into these lobbies with a top 500 attitude but bottom 500 skill set, that
Right.
I feel like that's not fair. Like, that's selfish to do that, and then it's, you know, because it's going to more often than not lead to a loss for not myself but everybody, unless I just so happen to be in a lobby with another, you know, former celestial or whatever who just hasn't been playing much, and so they're still, lower elo and they're trying to get their way out. So that's like the issue that I'm
Yeah,
having, in my mind, and I'm not saying that this is the right way, but in
yeah.
my mind it makes sense to try to get those, first those early game jitters out and quick match, because it still counts. Like, there's still going to be. I mean, I don't have the luxury of practice versus AI, where it's like if I get 50 kills or if I get 0 kills, it doesn't matter. Because like a quick match is going to count. So I still have that added pressure, but it's, quick match. So it, like you said, it is more relaxed and you can develop more bad habits with it. And I get that. It makes sense, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't know how to grasp the idea that taking a new character or a character you're not that good with too competitive yet.
Well,
I don't know how you to be okay with that.
it's simple. Competitive is just a game, right? And you just going in to not please people, but to practice skills. And to practice skills, you need to play the character. To play the character, you need to have the best environment for it. And competitive is the best environment, basically. And we also saying, like, regarding the skills, right? You mentioned, well, maybe bottom 500 skills, but it's fine, right? But to get there, what do you need to do? Yeah, what are the things you need to do to get to top 500? Remember, what kind of steps you need to take, right? So all these things which are written, yeah, maybe getting better at this concept, maybe another concept, and how do you get better at the concept? What is the best environment to practice the concepts, right? This is, of course, again, it's all your choice. Yeah, I'm just saying, all the consequences, because this is really important to fix. Yeah, there's player A who plays quick play, and there's player B who plays competitive. Player B improves much faster, and eventually, if we also talking about the perspective where like being selfish and everything, right? Maybe like, for example, well, I'm not a selfish, trying to try to swap the different roles and maybe not play the character, play quick play. It might sound like good short term, but in long term, because you're not taking care of your skill, then you're gonna lose the other lose more games, basically. Yeah, because we're trying to spread too thin, maybe trying to play too many characters, or we're not practicing our skills actively. Yeah, so the long term, what happens is we're not as competent, so we lose the games where we could have won if we practiced in a bad environment and also maybe been not swapping too much. Yeah, it's just keep grinding the character. Yeah, basically that's what we're getting at. Yeah, so you actually, by being selfish in a good way, you solving the problem to just also help others win. If you getting competent, yeah, if I'm, for example, I'm at the medicine field, okay, if I want to be a good doctor, I need to get everything, my knowledge right. I want to read a few books, yeah, do the practice, yeah, and to be competent, I need to keep grinding there, yeah. And I don't want to be like, if I'm trying to be like that good doctor, I'm not trying to like do something else, like maybe go in the other field or like do this and that. Yeah, it's just not aligning to where you want to be in the learn term, right? You still, of course, we all humans, you cannot do like one thing all the time, and also you gotta keep in mind like what's mentally appealing to you and everything. Yeah, so there are different things you can do. Yeah, and obviously there's a difference. You playing quick play, and you can do that. Yeah, you can play competitive. Just I want you to recognize that what's more helpful to you as a player, and try making small steps towards it, right? You don't want to maybe just make a one big step, but start doing better step right now. Yeah, all of this. How do you gonna play the competitive more? how you're gonna be paying attention to not stats but your performance, how you're gonna be also actually playing the character and practicing the skills, right?
Yeah.
Does it matter to you? Well, I mean, sorry, does it make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Right. Well, I just want to make sure we efficient with the time. We
I
before
do
like.
have a I
Mhm.
do have a code, but I couldn't put it in the chat. I don't think it went in there.
It's all good. It's all good. I see that a lot of matches actually been putting in our Google Doc as well, but
Oh
like
yeah, those are old.
those are old. Okay, we'll delete those.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's fine. You can just put something in the chat here.
that's what I was saying. I tried to, but I
Oh,
don't know if it went. I put the code in there, but I don't know if it load because it says messages failed to load.
yeah, yeah. Just try it one more time. Just copy and paste it in our DM. Should be good.
Oh, okay. I'll do that
Yeah,
then.
yeah. For now, I will also make sure I will create the note of this. And yeah, the notes, whatever we mentioned here, is going to be in the Google Doc. So keep that in mind. It's going to be our effective practice. Let's call it that. Now, read important.
Okay.
Like, I'm emphasizing this because this what will get you to the highest rank. It's not like the skills, even understanding the skills, it's just making sure you are consistently having that best mindset you can and applying it, like making the better steps towards being better player. Yeah, let's put it this way. Yeah, by the way, any questions you got about what we mentioned? Does it make sense? Everything what we talked about so far?
No, everything makes sense so far. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll see how we're gonna make the progress on that. For now, yeah, let's spend some time on the talking about the magic. Probably gonna talk about 1, 2 principles to just keep it simple. And this is you, right? On the magic
Yeah.
base, John.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, well, just tell me your thought process overall. What are you looking to do as the magic?
Well, earlier that day, I watched a top 500 Magic player who was
Mm-hmm.
a one trick, and he went over this map specifically. There was, I think, because when you get on that ledge that like in the middle of the screen, you can jump up towards a bridge at the top, and so he jumped up there, and so I tried to do that, but I missed the jump. So I was like, okay, well, I missed that. But I was trying to play more from high ground
Mm-hmm.
because that's not something that I associate with melee characters. And so I was like, okay, well, I know what I've tried in the past did not work, so I might as well try, something else. And so that's when I get up on that ledge
Mm-hmm.
right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Understandable.
And so I started out trying to, hide behind cover, look for, you know, the like easy, well, not well, squishy targets, and try to get in, get them going and then get out. But
Mm-hmm.
you'll see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah, this is good. Okay, perfect. I just want to comment a few things. When you watch the others, be careful with exactly copying and listening to what they say and following that advice, because a lot of your positioning, it always has context. It always depends on the context, and context can be really different. For example, this latch can be good if we take in the fight on this corner, but suddenly, if most of our team is fighting the spawn, then this latch is not good anymore, right? So what I want you to keep an
Right.
eye on is not the exact spots, but the fundamental principles of how your character is supposed to be played, and just apply it to any situation. Okay, so don't remember the spots, don't remember the exact advice, just understand what the character is good at with the position and make sure you get there. Now, the first thing, well, I'll just watch you a little bit, but I think there are already some good things to talk about. Yeah, so this is exactly this is exactly the situation, right? Your team is in spawn and we're trying to use the ledge here, yeah? But the thing is, It's just, well, it's funny because I just I made a prediction this Hulk is jumping, and now you suddenly, and well, not the best play by them, but it's fine. What we can pay attention to anytime, what you will be able to implement is, keep in mind that the Magik has a lot of burst ability, and you have quite a lot of mobility too in general. Okay, so one fundamental principle I usually suggest is try to think where your team is taking a fight, just to look at the situation, and what you want is, I think I will need my drawing tool. Give me a second. Okay, let's just click on display, borderless. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Oh, I didn't apply it. Okay, let's do it one more time. Okay, apply. Yeah, should be good. Right. So what we can be doing with this information, just take a look at where our team is playing. For example, it can be this position A. Okay. And then based off that, what you want to be doing is try to take somewhat of a 90 to 180 off angle, or you can even say flank. Okay, so what that means exactly, 90 or 180 position is the position which allows you to turn the enemy attention around, divert their attention completely when they're fighting your core. For example, your core is at A currently, it seems like. Yeah, most of the enemies are just here. So you can be taking certain position which allows you to turn the attention. Okay, to give you an example, I maybe can start positioning at B, and this is going to be creating 90 angle of attack, because we attacking this area here, yellow. This yellow will be distracted with two angles. They will look at B and A at the same time. And what it does is, because you split the attention, you will split their resources. And you also get in a position where it's easier for you to fight the backline typically. We're trying to get on those kind of 90 to 180 off angles. I will give you an example. I think we did the session with one of the, I think, Eternity players now. I just recorded some of their play because I think they're doing really good in those concepts. So this is going to be different map, but the principle is similar. They are going to be taking 90 to 180 angle, and just make sure they attack with the rest of their core. By the way, can you see the video? You with me? Everything
Yeah,
fine? Yeah, okay, perfect.
yeah.
So this is going to be the example of that, just different map. They doing the rotation, going to the main initially, but then what they will be doing, most of the people, they kind of go to the main here, maybe go here, but they will try to take 180 angle and go completely behind, which is what you want to do most of the time. Okay, you will see them going all the way right first to take that rotation. Always take your time setup. Setup first, 5 seconds. Setup first, 5 seconds. They're taking some time to do that and getting in the position. So there's a small thing, mechanical thing you can do as well. But now, see what the angle they got. My position is at this B, while my team is at A attacking this way. Kind of 90 to 180 angle. What it does is can divert the enemy attention, but also make it easy for you to get a kill. Okay, and they will try to just go for the combo from here and just do whatever they like depending on what they wanna be doing. Yeah, they kind of go for the big damage output, use the TP, and then spin around and attack the backline. And that's what you want ultimately. Yeah, you kind of mentioned, well, I wanna attack the backline. Yeah, you wanna attack the squishes. That's how you do that, just by setting up correctly first. Okay, does this principle, does it make sense, taking 90 to 180 angles, or any questions? We'll get to more
No,
examples.
yeah, no, it makes sense. I do have one question though. I can't see what it's like. Sweet oil baron, like where your mouse cursor is, right under it, where that
Oh,
no, to your right. There's a
to my right.
teammate. Yeah,
Oh
there's a
yeah, oh
teammate right
this,
there.
okay, yeah.
Would that still count as the 90
This can
degree from
be if
the?
you're attacking this area, yeah, because it's all about the context, right? So this can be if,
Oh, it needs to be 90 degrees from the kill zone, not necessarily from my team.
yeah, in a way, yeah, exactly. You just identify the area where you're fighting, and you take in this more of a flanky, or if the map is not allowing you to, then 90 angle. Typically, leaning towards more flanky options is better. That's why, like, this position example, yeah, you just can get to the backline easier. You have those more options to also kind of rotate to this, let's call it A1 as well. But this can also be one of the options too, yeah? This is where I want you to challenge yourself and just figure this out. There's no perfect spot on the map. You just want to see the context, what the team does, and then accordingly try to position yourself. Yeah, try to just take those good spots. Okay, now let's just think about this, by the way. If your team is fighting the spawn, what kind of angle you could be taking, which is 90 to 180, possibly? Yeah, in theory, what we could be doing in here?
I can't see who that is. I
Well,
think where
let's
my
just say
Namor.
we're attacking this yellow. Our team is attacking from this A. This is what they do. They already the spawn doors. So what is that position you could be taking? So it's 90 to 180 angle.
I guess I could be behind that pillar. I don't know if there's space behind it though.
Well, let's say this pillar number
Not that
one,
one.
pillar number
Well,
two.
that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
number 2 is what I was
possibly.
talking about.
Okay, behind the pillar, possibly. Well, you can even try to just be on the high ground, like you mentioned, high ground's really good too. Well, why not? Just setting up there. One is also doable. Yeah, it's just two seems you have more options for scouting. Okay, but
Yeah.
all of that is just because you looking at what my team is doing, what is the context of the fight. Yeah, I'm not just exactly copying what some YouTuber does or like Simi does. Yeah, because this time, right now we're waiting for real long because of it. Yeah, we just want to see the context set up first. And because there's a lot of waiting, I think your team is losing resources. We see your Hulk losing HP, and then your Jeff also will be dying too. The Hulk is almost dead right now, and we're kind of still in the waiting mode. Okay, your Namor gets a kill, which is really great. Maybe you can turn the fight around at this point, and you engage in the fight, yeah? But see, because this is not this 90 to 180 angle, might be a little bit challenging to touch the backline, right? It's just I'm going from here to here, it will be difficult. But if I'm maybe already here or over there, then it will be easier. It's always setup first, yeah, that is something what I talk a lot about in masterclass as well. Take the position first, and later on you can decide what to do. Okay, and good kills though, and now we just need to reset. And let's see just the next fight. Again, how we can be positioned. What do you think? What do you think about your position here? Is there anywhere else it could be, or this position is just fine? If you implementing the same principle again.
I guess. Well, you said it was Pillar 2, right? Where the Hulk
Yeah,
is.
let's call it pillar 2,
I
yeah.
guess that would be a better place to be. I don't
Potentially.
remember exactly what I do, but I
Yeah.
know I don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So again, the fight starts setup first always. Well, usually. Usually you need to do that and take that pillar. Later on, you will have a better angle. So you're not stuck on this kind of main lane, yeah? And then there's again not as much uptime because of it. Yeah, maybe that time we could be already attacking somebody low. I just want you to see the potential opportunities we could be getting. It's just this is already low. The Spider-Man is almost low too. Yeah, 1 HP. It's just one swing, all of those guys are dead just because of you. Yeah, because we're trying to set up first. Obviously, we can also do the poke with the right click, that's doable, but all of that doesn't matter to me as much. Mechanics, we'll figure this out as well, but I want you to just make sure you have the best position possible accordingly to what character you play currently, yeah? So that way it makes it easy. Okay, let's just get some other parts of the maps, because we want to just have more context on how do you apply this. Do you have any questions, by the way, or everything is clear?
No, everything's making sense.
Nice, perfect. Okay, so this is a slightly different situation for us. Okay, it seems some of your teammates over here. There's also this Cloak and Dagger taking that top over here. Your Hulk is diving. What do you think? How your position looks? Is there anywhere else you could be currently and setting up?
Um, I would think next, well, in the same area as the cloak. I don't know.
Oh,
Um,
might be, yeah. So what's good
Either
about that?
that,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's on high ground,
Mm-hmm.
and I can from up there I could charge up my magic slash, drop down, do a primary, and then hit the uppercut. And well, I could do that, but I don't see how I would get out.
Well, let's say we attack in the backline, this corner. What is the best way for you to get out? What kind of abilities you got?
Oh, that doorway I didn't see.
Well,
There's,
doorway
I
is
guess, through
possible. You
there.
just kind of position-wise, we keep that in mind. But what about your abilities? What kind of abilities allow you to also escape?
Well, the combo that I mentioned used the dash, so I wouldn't
Dash.
have that to escape, but I would have the stepping disc to get out.
Yeah, exactly. This one really will depend on situation. That is something we'll talk more about as well. Maybe a lot of times we don't have to exactly use our dash for the combo. Maybe you can just engage with regular ability, like your TP, for example, and that will be fine. If you're already in range, yeah, imagine I'm already in range, I'm using my TP to get in to do the big damage. Yeah, there's opportunity for you to just swing multiple people when you're stepping out of the portal. And then I have my dash as an escape, or as a combo potential, but I can always choose. Yeah, do I escape or do I follow up with the combo? It's this sort of stuff. It's just an example, obviously. But first off, yeah, set in up first. Just get in the position. And now there's a lot of waiting, and it just gets a little bit uncomfortable. Let's just put it this way: invest your abilities. Because I mentioned setting up first. Invest your cooldowns in setup first, and then engage second. It's typically whatever abilities you got, you want to be thinking about those as a opportunity for you to set up whatever mobility you got, whatever allows you to get to the best position possible is just something you want to be doing. Yeah, so like I mentioned, you have the dash, maybe you have the normal TP, you can do that. There's also this way, yeah, jumping on this ledge and then going above this here, well, possible, but that is something what you don't have to always teach actively at the moment. Yeah, learn actively. You just need to learn the fundamentals, and later on it will be easier to figure out all those details too. It's just really niche things which you don't even need right now. Okay, now we get to another fight. This is gonna be just different example for us, something we can maybe look at a little bit more.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Alright, so it seems your team is actively taking a fight on the objective, and you can make a decision where to go. You see your teammates starting rotating through this left doorway, position A. So what do you think? What is that position you can be taking so you start diverting the enemy's attention more?
Um,
Take this 90 to 180 angle. Where you want to go?
yeah. Well, I don't. I think that's what I was trying to do when I went through the other doorway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the other doorway is your way to take this kind of
The
180
90
angle.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, or like 90, yeah, 90 to 180, let's call it that. Okay, yeah, exactly. Just recognize that you can do that faster. Here, probably, obviously, it's taking time again to build up the speed on those concepts. Yeah, but I want you to always identify where your team is fighting, and based off that, you can think how do you position. Okay, so this is gonna be another bullet point. Scout your team and then decide where do you go. What are you gonna be doing? Because you trying to enter this doorway and then you recognize, well, it's not as good, but you could be spending that time already to be setting up at the best position, and this way you will have high uptime. Right? It's gonna be easier for you to just apply the pressure on the backline right away. Okay, I think we got quite a lot today. Obviously, most of it was more about the effective practice, but honestly, is the most important Just in any player's development through the years of experience so far, it's just one of the things you need to be paying attention to first, 100%. So I would just spend those last minutes thinking about what we got out of today so far. I know it's not too much into the replay, but we kind of taken it step by step too. So yeah, what do you think? What are the main takeaways for you? What kind of things you will keep in
Well,
mind?
I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to areas, like fight areas, and how I can approach them.
Mhm.
Um, it probably won't be a quick fix, but it'll definitely be something I keep in mind. And just thinking of fights like in a square or rectangle kind of shape, and just figuring out how I can get to a 90 or a 180-degree angle from it. And yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway, is trying to get faster at being able to do that.
That's okay. To be honest with you, you just need to start slow and good, and then eventually you will build up the speed. So make sure you try this out and do that in the right environment. The most important notes for us been, if we go back to our factor practice notes, what are those for you as well? What are the main takeaways from those? What you will be doing the next games?
Um, Focusing more on my actual performance
Yep.
and not my actual numbers on the scorecard.
Mm-hmm. And see, you already
That's
have those things. Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to say you already have some things you can be looking at and understand, are you successful or not? Even those 90 to 180 angles, are we positioning accordingly to the context of the fight where most of our team is? It's just simple stuff, but you can always keep yourself accountable, and this is always positive feedback you got no matter what. Even though you got loss or you got a win, does matter, you still can keep yourself accountable on that, and you still can see, are you actually implementing that stuff, are you actually doing good in those principles, right? Because this is just
yeah.
universal things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so okay, yeah, so it's that. What else? Is there anything else?
Uh, I know there is, but I'm drawing a blank because I
So
know it's the positioning and then focusing on performance
yep.
instead
Mm-hmm.
of stats, and then uh
Also remember the environment you practice in, where it's
yeah,
gonna be
that's what I
actually
was I
practicing.
was trying to figure out how
Yeah.
to actually word that.
It's gonna be, so for us so far it's gonna be competitive. Ideally, try to again get small steps into that. Yeah, maybe just play one game and see that you're gonna be okay. You lose the game, it's not like your friends are gonna dislike you suddenly, and like your everybody will still. It's just a game, in the bigger sense, and the best environment for us to practice competitive, something to keep in mind. Obviously, try to balance between having fun and just practicing. Yeah, I don't want to say 100% just go and grind, practice. No, there should be still time between the active practice and having fun. So make sure there's balance. So you will be spending some time on also playing with your friends, having fun, recharging, but then play the amount of hours until you can stay highly focused and play competitive during those hours and see how that goes. All right?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, sounds good. And one step at a time. Maybe start with 1, 2 games one day. Okay, the next day you can do 3, and then the next day you can maybe do 4, and see where it gets you. You just step by step. Don't try to Just play 100 games in comp instantly. Yeah, you just don't. Just do everything with small steps. That's how you fix any habit. Replace not as good behavior with slightly better one, and then again with slightly better one, and slightly better one, and you get better eventually as a player. Okay, so all of that sounds good to me. We, I think, covered pretty much what we wanted today. That's perfect. I think for the next time we can continue with this positioning topics because we've been talking about positioning quite a lot with you. Might be good to just continue with that.